what a great thing it is to have him back in British boxing, in world boxing indeed. Let's talk to his promoter now, big Arsenal fan, of course, as well. Frank Warren. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning.
Thank you very much indeed for joining myself and Tony Bellew, who's here as well. We've seen Tyson have, well, let's call it a return bout, a warm-up bout, whatever you like to call it. What next for the big man now, Frank? What does he have? What's the next size of the step he has to take?
Well, his next fight's on the 18th of August. He's fighting on the undercard of Carl Frampton's world title fight and also Paddy Barnes' world title fight in Belfast in Ireland.
Do we know who the opponent is?
Yeah, he's fighting a guy called Pianetta. He's a big guy. He's about 6'5". I think off the top of my head, his record is about 30-4, something like that. So it'd be a good opponent for him for his second fight back after nearly 3 years out of the ring and get himself back into fighting mode. At the moment, he's been training hard to lose weight. And it's been, as you know, he piled on a tremendous amount of weight. He lost over 8 stone for his first fight back. He's got a couple more to shift. And then he'll be, I think, then in a real situation where he'll be challenging or involved in a big fight.
And at the weekend, we saw the likes of Dillian White and Derek Chisora both come through very, very tough fights to win. Is that the kind of level you'll be looking at? Assume he comes through the fight in Belfast okay?
Well, actually, there were two very competitive and two good fights, as you quite rightly say. But without due respect to them, we're actually looking to try and make the fight with Wilder.
Wow. That's taking my breath away because he's going from one level to Deontay Wilder, arguably one of the two most dangerous men on the planet. You clearly believe, therefore, that he could beat Deontay Wilder.
Well, first of all, I want to see what he looks like on the 18th, and hopefully he'll come through that well. But the reports from the gym that he's looking well. And Tyson, as he said himself, he's been talking about Wilder in the last few weeks, and it's a fight. I think the British fans would like to see. I mean, it wouldn't happen in the autumn. If it happens, it'd be sometime in November, December. But that's where I would like to see, provided he comes through okay. And again, no disrespect to everybody. He's the lineal champion. He's the guy who's never been beaten. He lost his belts outside the ring.
Deontay Wilder has proved quite a slippery person to negotiate with. If you look at the Anthony Joshua situation, are you confident you could make that fight happen?
I'm pretty confident we can make it happen. I mean, funny, what you're saying is what they're saying about Anthony Joshua camp. So it takes two to make a deal. If you really want to make a deal, you'll make it happen. All I know is that Anthony Joshua turned down a guarantee of $80 million. That was $50 million for a purse and $30 million guaranteed for a rematch. And that wasn't the purses, that was the guarantees. If it did the business what everybody thought it was going to do, I anticipated it would do, it could be much more than that.
It's all well and good saying a guarantee, Frank, but there's no contract and there's nothing to sign.
There was a contract sent. I've seen it. I know exactly what went down. So
how can you see it if you're not the promoter of him? How is that even possible?
Because I work with Shelley Finkel, who's the manager of Deontay Wilder. That's why we're having negotiations and talking about that.
He shouldn't be showing you personal contracts and information, especially a contract that a fighter who's supposed to be the top of the bill, a heavyweight, hasn't seen.
Whether he should or he shouldn't, you just asked the question. I've just told you what was in it. So,
and I'm just telling you it didn't happen.
You're telling me because you obviously have seen it, whereas you haven't seen it, whereas I do know it for a fact.
I also know for a fact that if a contract was sent with $50 million, he'd have took it.
Well, there was 100% it was sent to the offer, and along with the guarantees, along with Showtime guaranteeing as well, Showtime, the US broadcaster.
And frankly, the tone of yourself and Tony Bellew's conversation, albeit briefly there, suggests to me that Tony Bellew is not in your plans to fight Tyson Fury.
Well, listen, anything can happen in boxing. You never know. I mean, I've just told you what I'd like to happen, and I've told you where we'd like to be, and it all depends what happens on the 18th. Who knows? I mean, Tony and Tyson is a big fight. Tony came off with 2 wins against David Haye, and he's put himself into a good position. So there's that. Tony's got a lot of options.
And he would also like to fight Tyson Fury, wouldn't you?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. He's the guy who said absolutely not. So he said that Tony Bellew does nothing for them, but Safari does do something for them. So I don't know. He said no to me. I was the guy that said yes, but. Whatever it is, it doesn't really bother. I'm a person with an awful lot of options, and I seem to be a big draw these days, and I do a lot of numbers, so we'll see.
Okay, listen, thank you very much for that, Frank. What about the new season in the football? Arsenal have done the last thing that I, a Tottenham fan, want. They've gone out and bought some decent defenders.
Well, that's certainly what was needed. We will see what happens. We've got this new manager. I don't know, how he's settling down and whatever, but we've all got a lot of anticipation and hope and belief that we can have a better season. Arsene have done very well, but obviously he's sort of run his course a little bit longer than he should have done, and it was time for a change. We will see now what will happen. My only concern was the amount of money they were talking about was available for the transfer budget. When he signed, they said they've got around 50 million, and that doesn't, in this day and age, just about buys a decent player.
Yeah.
So that was my only concern.
Listen, great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Frank Warren there saying that provided Tyson Fury comes through his next fight in Belfast, it's likely they will look to fight Deontay Wilder. What's your immediate reaction to that?
Immediate reaction to that is not a chance. Absolutely not. You cannot go from Pianetta to Deontay Wilder. It's not possible. You can't do that. And Frank is long enough in the tooth and knows the game well enough to know that's not going to happen. It can't happen because it would end in disastrous.
Why would he be saying
effect.
It then? Because
he's a promoter, and that's what he does. He promotes his fighters, and he tells you things that he talks like it's an ideal world. It's not an ideal world. It's not ideal that Tyson's had to lose 8 stone in weight. So it's one thing saying it, it's another thing doing it. And like I say, Frank's just doing his job for his fighter the best he possibly can. And listen, he hasn't been dealt an easy hand here with Tyson, because Tyson wants X amount of fights to come back. I know how many comeback fights Tyson wanted, and let me tell you, if he's wary of fighting me, then believe you me, he's not going to want any part of genuine big heavyweights. The likes of Dylan could end up being a nightmare for Tyson Fury. In my opinion, the first decent heavyweight he comes across, he's going to lose. I just think he's done too much to his body. And let me tell you this now, I hope I'm wrong, because Tyson Fury being in British boxing
amazing addition.
is big for the game. It's great for the business. It's just good for the whole brand of British boxing. Because British boxing now, make no mistake, is the home of boxing. Frank's saying there that Anthony Joshua's been offered £50 million on a contract. Well, why didn't, if there's a £50 million contract, why not just put the contract out for the media to see? Why only show it to Frank Warren? Why not just say, if Deontay Wilder's team are for real, just say, right, I'll tell you what, we'll show you the contract. Because if I was in their position, let me tell you, I could make the fight, not a problem, because I would just go public with everything. I'd go public with the contract. It's all well and good saying we've offered him 50 million. Here's 50 million in a bag. Mate, this isn't the street. 50 million doesn't fit in no bag. 50 million probably weighs about a ton.
And listening to the tone of the two of you talking to each other, if you decide you and Frank Warren to go out for a drink, remember not to invite me for that.